Okay, welcome everybody. This is an explanation about the Masters in Conflict Resolution and Mediation. Please, everyone, make sure you are muted just so we don't hear background noise for now. We're going to try to be quick today, 45 minutes, up to an hour, where I will present a little bit about the program at the beginning. Our program head, Dr. Nimrod Rosler, will speak about the research that he does and his connection to the program. And then I'll go into more depth with what you could do with a degree like this. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see? I hope so. Okay. Good.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. So here we are. So this is the International MA in Conflict Resolution and Mediation. It is a one-year program. We have 3 semesters in the program. It's 10 months, fall, spring, summer. You can actually complete the program in the spring semester. So you could do the program in 8 months if you wanted to, but that's up to you. The first semester, we have the required courses full-time, Monday to Thursday. And in the second semester, we have electives and seminars, also full-time, but you get to choose your schedule because they're all electives. So you can decide which days to come in the spring semester. The summer semester is a little bit more concentrated. It's probably twice a week for the 1 or 2 courses that we'll offer. The program is taught in English only. For those of you who are Israeli, everything is in English. If your lecturer is Israeli, which most of them are, it's okay to write in Hebrew if you want, but the courses are all in English. You are expected to do group work in English, and some of your lecturers don't know Hebrew, so you have to be able to write in English as well. The program itself is very interdisciplinary and experiential. We look at conflict from a variety of different subjects, from political science, social psychology, law, culture, religion, business and economics, a variety of areas. In the first semester, you have courses in most of those. In the second semester, the electives are more multidisciplinary. They mix the sociological, psychological, political. Sorry, can everyone mute, please? Thank you. Mute. Okay, there we go. Woven throughout are, because we really believe in skills development, are a series of courses about how do you actually solve conflicts. Learning the skills of negotiation, mediation, facilitation. So while you're learning, for example, in social psychological aspects of our approaches to conflict, you're also taking a course in negotiation. So you're learning the why in social psychological aspects of approaches to conflict. And when you're using your negotiation skills, you're actually using a specific skill, learning how to negotiate. So you mix the theoretical and the practical, and they come together in the classroom. We also offer, as a required course, a mediation workshop, which is about 1.5 to 2 weeks long, 52 hours of learning to how to become a mediator. And we encourage our students to do as much practical experience. So for those of you who are in Israel, you have more access to when you do internships, for example, or in your workplace. But for those who come from outside of Israel and who don't speak Hebrew or Arabic, we try to pair them up to places within Israel to learn how does the NGO world work? How do international organizations work? If these are ways for people to get practical experience on the ground for those who don't necessarily have much experience, and learn about how conflict really plays out on the ground. In addition, we have an optional thesis year. You can do a thesis in the second year. So now I will introduce, actually, I'll pause on this and I'll come back to where our students come from and where they end up working after. And I'll introduce Dr. Nimrod Rosler. Nimrod, do you need to share your screen? Do I need to give you permissions? Okay,
No need for
go
that.
ahead.
Thank you so much, Corey, for this great introduction. Corey is probably our most valuable resource and personnel in the program. He has so much experience in running the program, and therefore he could be extremely helpful throughout both the application process for all of you who are interested, and before you come, very helpful in helping up different bureaucracies that are related to Israel, and while you're here, to sort out different issues that come up while you're doing your studies. So thanks so much, Corey, for being for the program and with us today. As the program head, I would like to tell you a little bit on the kind of research that we do here in the program and in the faculty that touches on conflicts. My specific area of conflict research deals with trying to understand the psychosocial dynamics of prolonged violent conflicts. In other words, to try to understand how come there are conflicts around the world which prolong for so long. What brings people to continue these conflicts? What are the barriers to try to resolve these conflicts peacefully? In order to understand these issues, first of all, there is high importance in collecting in a systematic way data about what people feel and think about the conflict they're engaged in. And for this, we have an outstanding resource that we have developed at Tel Aviv University, which is called the Peace Index. The Peace Index has been a project through which we've been examining the attitudes of Jewish and Arab Israelis regarding the peace process, the conflict, and other issues that are on the daily schedule here in Israel. It has been conducted since 1994. So we have a database of almost 30 years of nationwide surveys that have been previously carried out on a monthly basis, and today we're doing that about 2 to 4 times a year. So we have vast knowledge about what people think. But to understand what people think, getting this data is not enough. We need to understand why do they think this way. And this is why we are also analyzing in-depth specific areas in order to understand these aspects of conflict. So, for example, I've been doing and writing research about emotions in conflict. How does hope towards peace or empathy towards the other side, how can they be help in promoting peaceful relations and peaceful conflict resolution? I've been looking in my past studies also about the role of gender. Do men and women think differently about peace? What can make them, if there are differences, what makes the difference? I've been also looking together with other colleagues from around the world about what happens when a group of people senses ownership over the territory, over the contested territory in which they live. What does that do towards their reconciliatory or compromising attitudes? And we've been studying that here in Israel and in other places around the world. This is, by the way, I think an important opportunity to relate also to the comparative perspective that we take both in the program and I personally do take in my research about conflicts around the world. We have that, although you'll be coming, if you'll join, and hopefully you'll join us in the program in Israel, you'll be coming to a country where the conflict is very much present, and you probably hear about that ongoing in the news. But we do think that, well, maybe it used to be like that people thought that Jerusalem is the center of the world. We understand, unfortunately, today that Jerusalem is not. First of all, because we are situated in Tel Aviv. And of course, the other reason is because we understand that there are other conflicts going around the world. And in order to understand also our conflict better, we need to take this comparative perspective. This is why in the past I've been conducting studies in Northern Ireland, which experience also a prolonged violent conflict. This is the reason why we are conducting for the second consecutive year an intensive course together with an Armenian university, which will look at the two conflicts in Israel and Palestine and in Nagorno-Karabakh from a comparative perspective, trying to understand much deeper both conflicts and what can we study from each one. That's our plan also to continue conducting such workshops in the future together with universities in other places where there are conflicts around the world. This is, by the way, part of the studies that my colleagues here do. For example, Dr. Boaz Meiri, who has been conducting his research in other places around the world that are engaged in protracted conflicts such as Colombia or countries in Africa. After understanding, getting the knowledge and analyzing, trying to understand why do these conflicts prolong, we also take a more proactive approach. And in the last couple of years, we've been, together with my colleagues, engaged in planning interventions that are aimed at attitude change to make up people more open towards peace and to consider these possibilities, especially in societies where living in conflict becomes their daily routine. This is why we have tested successfully, I'm glad to say, some social psychological interventions here in the Israeli case. And after we've conducted these studies, we're also planning to continue and doing that together with colleagues in Cyprus, for example, both from the Greek and Cypriot sides of the conflict. This is just a glimpse of the kind of research that we do here in our program, and to give you a sense of the studies that you can learn about when you come here and meet our wonderful lecturers that will give you also an overview of their studies as part of the curriculum. Thank you so much, and I'm bringing back the floor to you, Corey.
Thanks, Nimwald. Nimwald, I know you have to go in 2 minutes. Does anyone have any specific questions to Nimwald as head of the program or about his research, what he said? You feel free to speak up if you do.
Okay. I don't know if it's for you or for Ayelet and so on, but you mentioned that in the first semester, it's a Monday till Thursday. It's right. a full week.
That's right. 2 courses a day, about 5 hours per day.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm willing to do it not in 8 months or a year and, you know, to make it for a longer time, is it possible?
Difficult. I'd have to check. I will send you in a minute. I'm about to send out the website and email addresses for me. I can check. The program is meant to be for foreigners coming to Israel for 1 year, because Israel, as you know, can be a bit of an expensive place, and they want to get it done in a year. That's the reason for the year. You live in Israel, not an issue, obviously, with that. Mm-hmm. I can check into that if it makes it possible.
Can I ask another question? Oh, sorry.
Sure. Go. Who was first?
Yes, sorry.
No problem. You can ask first.
Thank you. So, Nimrod, are there any researchers that are looking at mediation and belonging, anything on that angle? The sense of identity and identifying with the group?
Yes, we do have researchers that are dealing with these issues. My colleague, Dr. Boaz Meiri, and myself, we are both conducting also research that deals with identity and the part of identity in prolonging, as well as the possibility to resolve conflicts. The mediation part is more of a practical aspect of the program, and most work done in the program about mediation deals with the workshop in mediation, and also to some extent, it includes also simulations. And this is why it's more of the practical side more than the research part.
If I may, another question, is that okay?
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm going through the Gomegevim mediation Gishur Bchirim right now, and I'm wondering if that will be an overlap, or will it give me because we're doing the practicum as we go along.
I'll give a short answer and then maybe Corey can continue. I don't think there should be any overlap for two reasons. First of all, the program as a whole is not only focused on mediation. As Corey said, it's an interdisciplinary program that looks at conflicts as a wide phenomenon and try to understand conflicts in different levels, starting from interpersonal conflicts to international conflicts. The second thing is that the mediation course within the international program tends to focus more on conflicts between groups and states rather than individuals. And this is why I don't see that there should be any overlap in those things. But Corey, maybe you have more insights about that.
I'm not very familiar with what you learn in Aviv, but yeah, it's our focus is much more on international conflicts and different case studies from around the world. Not just, I don't just mean, let's say the two sides of Korea or China and Russia, but also in the US, for example, between a state, the federal system, and an environmental group, for example. I vaguely remember a case study similar to that. The idea is that the focus is much more at different levels and at an international focus because most of our students come from around the world. So one specific system of how things work in mediation isn't going to work. We need to teach them a variety of theories and practices.
Thank you, Corey and Nimrod.
Welcome.
Sure, I think Ayelet wanted to add something as well.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, just a suggestion. I'm sorry to spoil the party, but just letting the Israeli participants know that we do have a sister program in Hebrew in 2 years. So that's another option, but now getting back to the international program.
Yes.
Thank you.
By the way, just as a comment, it's for now a 2-year program, the Israeli
Yes.
program.
Yes, you're right.
For this coming year,
Yes.
it is. Did anyone else have other questions for
I
you?
think Layal wanted to ask.
Yeah, I have a question. I wasn't before. I connected lately, so I wanted to know about the days that we are going to learn, and then it's from Monday to Thursday.
That's right. Okay, so in the first semester, this in the international program, the one that's taught in English, in case you missed that part, it's Monday to Thursday are the required courses in the fall semester, and that means it's about 4 to 5 hours a day of classes. They're all required classes in the first semester. So yeah, it's a lot. In the first semester, it's Monday to Thursday. Sundays, we do trips. We have about 3 trips each semester in the international program. And those are part of courses. If you live here, you basically, do you live here, Leal? I'm assuming?
Yes, I live
Okay.
here in
So
the
most of these places you've probably been to, but for people who are from outside, it's very exciting. And by the way, our trips are focused on areas of conflict within Israel and Palestine. In the second semester, the electives you choose them, so you can choose your schedule. I would hope you would choose by what you're interested in, but yes, you can choose by days of the week. That is a possibility, and we offer courses Monday to Thursday. And I sent out a minute ago or 2 minutes ago our website. If you go there on calendar, you can see what last year's calendar looked like. I don't have this year's calendar yet, but last year's will probably be close to what we have for this coming year.
Okay, so in the first semester, all the courses are core courses, so
Yes.
I don't have the option to choose.
No, in the first semester, no. No, they're all
Okay, and the first semester is the theoretical one, and the second semester is a practical one.
No, they're all mixed theory and practice. Pretty much. It depends on the lecturer. Some lecturers just focus a little bit more on theory, some are more on the practical. Some of our lecturers, by the way, let me slip this in. Some of our lecturers are university professors. A lot of our lecturers are people who work in the field, who have a doctorate. So they focus more on the practical because that's their experiences. So it really depends.
Okay, and
If you would like to know more, I can go through each course with you offline at another time, or anyone who wants to do that. I'm happy to. I know.
okay. And those for those who are working, for example, I work as an English teacher, so I think it will be a little bit problematic to balance between the
It's-
teaching
It's
and
difficult.
learning
Yeah.
because the courses are intended to be from Monday to Thursday. You mean every day? And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all
That's
of them
right.
are full.
That's
Okay.
right. Yes.
And the
No.
learning are not afternoon, it's in the morning.
No, it's
They are
more
in
in the afternoons. The schedules, I think our earliest class is in at 11 or 12. And it tends to go into the evening. They tend to be later in the day.
Okay, so started from 12 to the evening. Okay.
Usually, you can see on the in the calendar the exact times. They're more or less will be the same next year. We've had people who work part-time during the program, and yeah, it's a little tough to work and go to school, but they did it.
Okay. I have another question. As I hear the program, if I want to summarize it, it's to try to understand the conflicts in a deep level, all the international conflicts. It's not about only the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, so it deal with the several topics.
They do. It depends on the lecturer. So some lecturers specialize in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, so it comes up a lot. Other conflicts come up a lot more. Sri Lanka, Northern Ireland, Armenia, Cyprus. It really are Russia and Ukraine has been big, obviously, the past year and a half. So it really depends. It depends on the lecturer themselves.
And the core of each course at the end, it's to find a solution, or it depends on the syllabus and it's related more to the requirement of each course. It's not something that unified.
No, it's not something unified. It depends on the course. And I think it's, if I had to sum it up, it's more about understanding what are the core aspects of why there are conflicts. And it could give examples from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, for example, or other conflicts. It's more about why are there conflicts? Why do we have difficulties getting along sometimes? Different ways of looking at conflict around the world. Plus, even the interpersonal conflict, it comes up in some of the courses as well. So the focus is
And there is, yeah.
international. Go ahead.
I just
And
quick-
there is a,
Layal, just one quick thing. I see that most of the questions are dealing with more of the aspects that relate to the content of the different courses and the way it works. So I think I will leave it to Corey to answer all of these questions. He knows the best about that. So I just last word to that. I really hope to see as many of you next year in the program. And if needed, Corey can also bring up my email address. So if you have any specific questions about academic issues, so you're welcome to send me emails as well. Thanks. Good luck.
Thanks, Nimrod. Yes, if anyone has specific questions for Nimrod, I can definitely get you in contact with them. Go ahead, Leanne.
yeah, who is responsible for the admissions and
That's me.
you?
That's
Okay,
me.
so I can so I have a bachelor's degree in political sciences and English literature. So do I still need to do the TOEFL exam or these requirements in order to enroll?
It depends. Where are your degrees from? Were they taught in English entirely?
Yes,
Where? What country?
Ben Gurion University.
But it was taught in English?
The English literature, right? Yes, of course.
Okay, I will have to check. You'll be my case study. If you studied, for example, in the UK in English, then obviously you're exempt from any English proficiency test. If you studied at IDC in English, I know absolutely you're exempt. I have to check if you study English. But yes, you can write me and I will check. I'll look into it.
Okay.
It's not my decision. It's not my decision. There's a unit in the university who has very strict policies from the Ministry of Education.
And as for the tuition and fees, As an Israeli students, do we need to pay the same amount that the international students will pay, or
Yes, yes, it's the same amount. It's $16,800 because we're an extra budgetary program. So we have no.
okay, so there are no discounts for Israeli students.
There is the possibility of getting tuition assistance, but I won't know about that until September.
Okay, and if I want to do the thesis track, I need to pay more. It's
Yes, you pay for a second year. It's $5,000 for the thesis track for the year.
Additional $5,000 for
That's
the thesis.
That's right.
And the whole semester and the whole year is 15 and 19.
16,800. It's almost $17,000.
Okay.
So did somebody else? I saw somebody asked a question. I just missed who it was. Hold on, the hands went up and now I can't see them. Hold on. Who is next with the question?
I do have a question. When is the last day to sign up for the Hebrew and the English program?
The Hebrew, I don't know. So if you are you located here in Israel?
Yeah.
Okay, so because you don't have to deal with visas, first of all, I would say the end of August is fine.
And
Hebrew program, I don't know. You'll have to,
Okay.
you have to check with Ron.
and when does the year start? Because he said next year.
Yeah, October 15th, 14th, right after the holidays. There's an orientation week. But then the classes start October 14th, I think it is.
But it's in 2023 because he said next year. So I was like,
Yeah,
is that
2023. We're thinking academic years. That's why. Yes. That's
okay, I see.
I didn't know. We
thank
mean
you
in
so
a few months.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yona?
Hello. I actually have several questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so the first one is about learning Hebrew. Is there a like high-level ulpan in the university that I can like attend, like Dalet or Hey, that I can attend with my coupon for like new repatriants? Is it
Oh,
possible?
are you asking because you made Aliyah, you get it
I
for
made
free?
Aliyah, yeah, and I can have it for free, but I need
I
like a
don't-
high level because I graduated like the Gimel Ulpan.
Okay, I don't know for sure. Please write me an email and I'll check with the person who runs the Ulpans. I don't for sure. There is beginners for anyone who wants to learn Hebrew. There are beginners Hebrew and there's beginners Arabic, modern standard Arabic, not Palestinian Arabic. I should point that out. I would suggest maybe not taking Hebrew in the first semester because the first semester is a lot. It really is a lot, and our experience is that people stop going to their Hebrew classes, and if you get it for free or if you pay, it just seems like a bit of a waste. Wait till the second semester. That's my opinion on it. Because I'd say half the people drop out, and it just seems like I don't want you to waste your money. But send me an email and I'll find out about the levels. That I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and my second question is actually about Arabic. Yeah, so on the side it says that I can like take the course for $500 additional
That's
for
right.
a semester.
Yeah.
Who do I like have to text about it? And will you
Also
recommend
send me an
today?
email. I'll send you. I can't remember her email address,
Okay.
so I can't tell you. That exactly. Yes, I will. And if not, also, by the way, it depends if for Arabic, modern standard Arabic is very different than Palestinian Arabic, the way it's spoken. So I also, one of the things I do for you as students, for those who want to learn Hebrew and Arabic in the evenings, is I send you additional courses that are going on outside the university.
Okay.
And those courses are all Palestinian spoken Arabic, not reading and writing, just speaking.
Okay, and my third question
Go ahead.
is about the thesis and about the exchange program. I know you do have an exchange program with Sciences Po Lille.
That's
and
right. It's not exchange.
Yeah,
It's not exchange. It's a
like go in there and write in the thesis.
yeah. Okay. So for the first thesis, let me deal with that. So the thesis is an extra year. You can decide in the first year, around the end of the second semester, you can decide whether or not you want to do the thesis. It's based on your grades, how high, if you have a good GPA and you're in the program, and finding a thesis advisor. Actually, finding a thesis advisor is probably the tougher thing. The grades are not that tough. It's more of finding a thesis advisor. So hold on, somebody's speaking. Thank you. Okay. Yes, you need to find a thesis advisor. I try to help you with that. Then it's an extra year. It costs $5,000, and you have to take a course, a thesis workshop. So that's. But I mention it many times during the year, so no need to.
And so, like with the going abroad, it is like just.
So that's a different thing. So we have we have agreements with, and you could do both thesis and you could do both. Going abroad to Sciences Po or Johns Hopkins University, we have agreements with them where normally they are their master's programs that are 2 years long in France and in Italy, 2 different places, 2 different focuses in what they teach. But they have an agreement with them that you could do our program and then their program in 2 years instead of 2 years there and 1 year, 3 years, basically. So you're saving a year.
But it will be like an additional cost.
It's additional cost. The two programs are completely separate. Yeah.
And I know how Sciences Po costs, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but technically it's possible to find like a thesis advisor there and go there to write a thesis.
Go there.
Yeah, because there was something about like writing a thesis abroad.
No, the thesis is part of our program, and you don't have to be in the country to write the thesis at this point.
Okay, no, okay, understand.
So we had a student, for example, who wrote his thesis and also went to Johns Hopkins in Bologna. So he did not do them at the same time, by the way, because that would be too much work. But yes, you can do that. That is a possibility.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I explained this multiple times during the year, so don't worry. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, did you have another question?
I have. Okay, no, you can continue.
Yona, do you have a question?
No. I just wanted to say
Layal, one more second. I saw David raise his hand, and I don't want to. Is he still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Corey. Thank you. Actually, I had a question. I mean, I guess ideally for I couldn't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. Nimrod. Yeah. But I'm sure you'll be able to answer as well. I've actually got a couple. So, for instance, actually during the last presentation that you host, there was a couple of folks, graduate, that provided their insights. Yep. Actually had experience in the private level. So my question goes to, it looks like the skills that you learn, basically mediation, can be applied towards both government and also private entities. So regardless, and of course, let's say, for instance, to the public sector and the government and international sector, but with so many, I guess, situations, and conflicts going on, is there some niche market that could be developed, for instance? I guess especially goes in the private sector. And as you develop that niche, do you have to have, I guess, like some sort of experience in a specific field that when you graduate, you can apply those conflict resolution skills towards that market specific, or is that something that you kind of pick up on the fly? In other words, are there like sort of specializations within the program or on the market? I don't know if I'm making sense.
I think I know what you're saying. I think what generally happens is that people come into the program with very specific experiences. They develop on those experiences and they add mediation, negotiation. Let's say they had a law background, they then understand what is motivating the people in the disagreement. Let's say they're looking at the law, or how do you mediate through that disagreement? So they're taking what they are, the experiences they already had, adding new skills and new knowledge onto it to form something else. And it doesn't mean they go back to the same place they were before. It generally means they move on to something else, actually. Exactly. That's my experience with the program. But yes, if I knew more, and that's something we could talk about offline, if I knew more about exactly what you're thinking about, I could connect you to people who might do that. But
in my experience, I mean, I work in the interpreting field, so I see little or perhaps no application of that, but I do want to evolve as a professional. Like, for instance, I know people that have background in aviation or whatever the case is, in, so many, areas of conflict that, like you said, could be applied. So in my case, for instance, or you can actually graduate with little or no experience in any mediation field, and can that still, I guess, do you pick up that specialty as you go, or I guess towards the second semester?
But understand that you're picking up some skills and theory. It's not the whole story. So, for example, the mediation workshop, I have to make it clear, you don't become a professional mediator from a mediation, even if it's 52 hours. You still need to go on. If you live in Israel, then you do a different course with the court systems. In the US, we had students who went on to do court mediation. You still have to take extra courses because you have to be trained in the mediation of that place. So it does give you the background, which allows you to be able to do that.
Oh, so it's more like it's a master's degree, but yet it's more like a foundation, so to speak. In other words,
Well, it depends.
If I come back to the States,
like any master's degree, you're not going to learn everything about whatever it is. It depends what you plan to move into or what you plan to do. So
I got you.
Maybe we could have a private conversation about this.
Okay. And then with that, my second question is, on average, historically, how long does it take for students after graduation to land a job?
So it really depends on who the person is. People who, first of all, and how much they've networked both before and during. So networking is huge. That's a big part of it. So meaning finding the right people at the right time. That's how we unfortunately get jobs. I would say within the first 6 months, for those who are very motivated, they find a job. Absolutely. I would say for those who are less motivated, it can take,
It could never happen, of course. I mean,
yeah,
but because I have to just I live in the States, I have to literally quit my job and be there for a year, and then upon ready to return, I have to start looking for. Well, actually, ideally, I'll make connections before graduation, but I'll just try and anticipating how that plays out.
Yeah, that's from my experience what I've seen, because I check in with all of our graduates all the time, at least once a year. So I hear what's going on and how they're moving from job to job and how long it took them to find a job. And I would say networking and how motivated they are the two factors, the main factors.
Gotcha. Thank you, Corey.
You're welcome. I wanted to go back to, I forgot her name.
Me?
Lael, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Is there a role for the age? For example, if
No, not at all.
No, for
we've had
example,
people in their 50s and 60s.
Okay, so but do still NGOs or these organizations still need a person at the age of, say, 60? I'm not 60, by the way. I'm 24, but I'm asking.
I can't see you, but no. Definitely for internships, I've never seen an issue. In terms of getting a job, I don't know. That I don't know.
Okay, because they aspire to recruit. They I think need to recruit younger people because they think they will be more creative. They have more passion. I don't know, but this is the situation that's happening here in all the high technological companies. They are requiring. I don't know if it's true. I hope that it will not be true.
I don't know. I know for internships, I deal a lot with NGOs, the NGO world here in Israel. And no, they do not, they don't have an issue with age at all. I haven't noticed that at all.
Okay. If I have specific questions also, can I email you?
Yes, I in the chat is my email address. So yes, please do.
And I have another question. You say that in the second semester, I can choose elective courses which are on Monday or in Thursday, right? Not all the week.
They're every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
The same, that the second semester is the same like the first semester?
Yes, but you can choose which courses you take. So if you can only work Wednesday and Thursday, then you can take your courses only on those days. But I can't guarantee which days things will be offered. It's our lecturers mostly work in the field, and so it really depends on when they're able to teach for us. So
okay. and I cannot see the stable program or schedule for the next year.
No, not yet, because we
Not
still.
yet. It's not really. Okay.
It's not. For the first semester, it is, but not for the second semester.
Okay. As for do you know a little bit about the program that is in Hebrew? What is
No, I don't. Sorry, I don't know enough about it. You should have Iran's contact information, or for the or just write to the Hebrew program. There, he'll be able to reply to you. Sorry, it's actually
no, it's
sorry,
it's okay, but I heard something from Yona. Is there a chance to do an exchange students at Science Po? Because I didn't see this
yeah,
written
so in our program, it's on an exchange. So we have an agreement with 2 other universities, only, by the way, only in the English taught program, in the international program.
Yeah.
In the Hebrew program, it doesn't have this.
Yeah.
So where you do one master's, you do our master's, and then the second year you do a separate master's. It costs more. They have their own pricing. At Sciences Po, theirs is in peace, and I forget how they phrased it, but it's peace and NGOs. And the second group is with Johns Hopkins in Bologna, and it's international relations.
International relations. Yes, I think you have a degree in international relations here.
In English, no. In English, no. We don't offer that.
It's a collaboration between Tel Aviv University and Johns Hopkins.
That's right. So what it does is it's because normally those programs in Johns Hopkins and at Sciences Po are 2 years, and you're able to do their program in 1 year if you do our program. That's the agreement.
The only solution is to do your program.
Well, there's other English taught programs that are part of the agreement, so it's not only, but the Hebrew program is not included in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also diplomacy have a collaboration.
That's
with
right,
the
exactly. So security and diplomacy it does as well, but the English taught one, not the Hebrew one.
Yeah, not the Hebrew. Yeah, I'm interested in English because I have a good basic in English and I want to maintain it.
Terrific. Okay, I'm going to move on to, I think Eden was next.
Hi, yeah. For those who don't have an established career and idea of what they want to apply these skills to, is there a common area that people usually go into?
Yeah, I would say that the largest group that come out of our program go into something governmental, and that could be if you're American, the State Department, or other ministries. We have people all around the world, so in most countries they call them ministries. So working for different government, whether it's federal or local. And then I would say the next group is NGO world, and that's usually because people, it's a great, the NGO world is a great entry point for jobs. For example, grant writing or serving different communities. For those who don't have a lot of experience, that's a great way to learn about what goes on the ground. And so those are the 2 areas I think are the most common for people coming out of the program.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Carol, you were next, I think.
Yeah, hi. So I had a question regarding the program. The year 2023 was a year full of events for Israel, at least. So I was wondering if we're going to talk about this in the program, if the classes are going to be a little bit updated about it. The focus is going to be on that.
There's no specific focus in the program, by the way, but yes, it comes up. So in leadership, which actually Nimrod, who was speaking before, he talked a lot about the protests that are going on now with the judicial changes. He spoke a lot about that. It happened mostly in the second semester, so I'm trying to remember who else would speak about that. I'm sure there was somebody else who incorporated that into their course. I know that in international law, which is in the first semester, he will speak a lot about the normalization agreements between Israel and Morocco and the Gulf states, Sudan, that sort of thing, and who's maybe next on the horizon, because he wasn't directly involved, but he knows a little bit about that. So yes, new aspects of what's going on definitely gets are spoken about in the program. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and I would say also in political approaches, talking about a lot of the violence that's going on between Palestinians and Israelis in political approaches. I know Stephen definitely would be teaching about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Kate, I think you were next, and I hope I'm seeing everybody.
Thanks very much, Corey. Apologies, I joined a little bit late. I'll try not to repeat anything that you've already covered.
It's okay.
Just a couple of questions on the proportion of international versus Israeli students in the course. And also on, if you have a sense of the proportion of people who are new graduates versus people who are coming back after some years working professionally.
So I would say it's mainly international students, non-Israelis. We always have a few Israelis every year, sometimes a few Palestinians, or one or two Palestinians from East Jerusalem or Israel, or at times the West Bank. But the majority are definitely from around the world. I would say mainly US and Canada. Actually, we only had, I think, 2 Americans this year, and a lot of Canadians. I'm Canadian, so I'm very happy about that. Western Europeans, and then people from all around the world, China, Russia, South America. We always have a few, Africa, 1 or 2, India. So from all over the world. I would say, I'm trying to guess. I did the statistics years ago. It's about 30% or 35% of people fresh out of a BA. Another 40% are people who took a couple of years, either did an MA and worked, or just worked for a couple of years and then took a break kind of thing, and then come back to school. And then we get a few people who are older, in their late 30s, 40s, 50s every year. We've even had married couples in their 50s who came together to Israel with their kids.
That could be interesting from a conflict resolution perspective.
Yes. So so it's always a very diverse group, and everyone, it's a small group too. So we're usually around 30, 35 students. And so you guys bond because you're all in the same classes. So you really bond. Even the 22-year-olds with the 50-year-olds, because I'm that age, so I've had conversations. But yeah, I mean, the young people hang out together a lot more, but you do a lot of things together, including trips, which are part of the program, or other trips that sometimes the students organize as well.
Okay. And you mentioned in terms of a deadline to apply for commencement this year, maybe too early to tell, but are you seeing any visa delays as a result of Ministry of Interior's?
No, actually, compared to last year, because there were strikes last year, so I haven't seen any. Where are you located?
I'm in Jerusalem at the moment.
Oh, you're here. Oh, so you have no issues.
Yeah.
No, as far as I know, there aren't any issues this year. I'm knocking on wood. It's always a little bit of a surprise. So I tell people who are not in the country, apply by the end of July, because this is something important for those of you who are not Israeli. The Jewish holidays shut down everything. I still work, Nimrod still works, so we support you. But when it comes to getting a visa or a student card or information about insurance, for about a month, everything is shut down. There's not much we can do. But so that's why I always tell people, mostly who are never been here, apply early, please, because it'll just be less of a headache. But for people who are here, it's not a big deal. We've had people show up to the first week of classes and say, we want in, and if we can make it happen, we do. But please don't do that because we have to scramble to do it. But yes, it is possible.
I didn't see any other hands up, but please, if there's others who want to come in.
Would anyone else like? Okay, go ahead.
Just one more in terms of, you mentioned, and I think Nimrod did as well, that it was interdisciplinary.
Yes.
And I could see from the courses on last year's schedule that indeed there was a wide variety. In terms of electives though, are there opportunities also to choose from other courses that are offered?
Yes, good. Thank you for bringing it up. There's something I meant to mention. Yes, so because we have so many electives in our program, I think in the English, in the programs at the MA level taught in English. to clarify. We allow for the most electives, absolutely. We also allow you to take courses in other programs. We cannot guarantee though. So for example, there are programs which, if they have a lot of students, so for example, security and diplomacy is one of those. Sometimes they have a lot of students. They can't allow us, they don't give us room in there sometimes. Other years when they don't, not an issue. It really depends on what's going on, and I can't guarantee any specific course for anybody. I can guarantee if you're our student, you will have a spot in our electives. That I can guarantee, but everything in other programs I can't. So what I do is in November, I send out a list of all the electives in other programs. Sometimes there's even a few surprises that happen where in February or March, a new elective is suddenly announced, or an elective that they didn't open to people is getting less less students. And so if you are here in Israel, you know that everything is very last minute. Be prepared for surprises. So there are always these little pop-up courses that happen where that end up being a surprise. So it happens every year.
Okay, perfect. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, great. Oh, so what issue is this? Someone is.
There's a question in the conversation.
Yes, I have one issue with this program emphasizes more on security or military and mainly focus on diplomatic issues. Oh, okay, I see. I would say less military. So this is conflict resolution. Security definitely is part of it. I would say, and diplomacy to a certain extent, but much less on the military aspects. There is that, for example, in nationalism, there's a course on nationalism, which one of the focuses, because the lecturer is Russian, is on Russia and Ukraine, and so there are aspects of military and security, but it's much more focused on political science and the why. Why is Putin acting the way he is, and why do people act that way in situations of nationalistic conflicts? So that's more the focus of the program. Just so you know, Pinguan, there is another program called Security and Diplomacy, also taught in English at the university, which it focuses much more on security and diplomacy. I think we teach much more a mix of theory and skills on understanding why the conflicts happen, and they are much more about the security aspects of why conflicts happen. Right? It's a good way of, from my understanding, summing it up. I have a few students who've taken both, by the way. So if you need to be connected, I can definitely, you just write me and I can connect you to someone who's taken both, and they can give you a good comparison.
Corey, you said that the focus is only on the diplomatic issues, or because I didn't hear well.
Oh, no, there's a different, I said there's a different program taught in English on security and diplomacy.
Yeah, but the core of the focus, the focus in this master, conflict resolution and mediation, is about the international conflicts and
international conflicts from a political science perspective, from a social psychological perspective, legal, economic, and cultural and religious. I'm putting culture and religion together in that way.
So we can say in a variety of variation, different aspects.
Exactly, because any conflict, I mean, Israel-Palestine is a good example. It has so many aspects of all these different elements in conflict that come together. And even if you could solve one, you have 100 more to deal with. So you have to look at conflict from a multidisciplinary approach. You have to, because it's never just about one thing.
Okay. So the political science is integrated also.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay, any other questions? Well, thank you guys. You asked terrific questions, actually. Usually
I have a final question.
Oh, go ahead, Leah.
Yeah. are we going to learn about the theories in politics or in social or in legal or in economic directions?
Yes, all of those. Yes. Absolutely.
So
It depends which class, but each class looks at a different aspect. But for example, in the second semester, there's an elective called game theory, which mixes psychology, economics, math, and political science in different ways to look at how, in a way, a lot of conflicts, you could look at them as a type of game that's happening, and how to understand conflict through that. Those sort of theories.
And we need to solve these conflicts at the end of the day.
Yes, which is very difficult. So nobody gives you the perfect answers, but they give you aspects of why they're happening that help you to resolve at least the elements that you know about. That's what I would say.
Yeah, aspect of why these conflicts are happening.
That's right.
From a different perspective and from different aspects as
Exactly.
political, social, legal, economic, and psychology.
Exactly. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And again, if you're in the country and you want to apply, do so by the end of August. And if you're, better if you do it before. And if you're out of the country, by the end of July, only because of the visa issue. So that's it. If you look on our website, you'll see exactly how to apply, what you need, and you can contact me if you have any questions about that. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Keep going.
Thank you, and I hope everyone has a great day or evening. Most of you seem to be local, so have a great evening. Take care.